tried to come give it back, and you're like, no, we keep it. You know, it's your money. I go, no, you paid me twice. So I let it sit for 3 months until they realized the mistake. They called me and said, hey, we overpaid you. Okay,
Check the statute
I'll
of
give it back to you
limitations
now.
just in case.
You know, you can go ahead.
6 years, plus interest.
It's the interest we're interested in.
Yeah.
If you have no objections, I would propose that tomorrow night we address 10 through 12 as a consent agenda, as well as 13 through 17, 16. Do you have any objections? I'm sorry, did you say 10 through 12?
Well, we would probably just put 10 through 16.
10
Yeah,
through
so I
16
can
is what I was thinking, yeah. Well, the only reason I would, because it's two different things, paid invoices and performance reports.
Still put in a consent agenda. All of them.
Okay.
Yeah, if they're all receive and file, I think you could probably make them all as one motion unless you have an issue with any single one of them.
No.
Either way.
Alrighty. Okay. That brings us to 17.
So Jim, you have some questions on the budget performance report?
You know, yeah, actually, my question, Misty, and I started looking at them a little bit more, and I realized like you're not going to collect in the summer months on ice. You know, I was just looking at some of the budget numbers, and it looks like the charges for, okay, like on the income statement, the first page, charges for services. I mean, you know, you're only on an average collecting, you know, anywhere from 1 to 20% on what was budgeted for on a lot of those items, and I'm just curious as to what, you know, makes up those budget numbers. I think it'd be a little bit closer.
Okay. I would have to defer this question to Jeff Dobek just because he's managing the operations at the Sportsplex. Jeff?
And it's not just the Sportsplex. I mean, if you look at you know, look at court fines and forfeitures, you know, I mean, you only, on this particular month, October, there was about 30% collected, but on other months, it's under 10.
Well, not all of the revenue comes in monthly. I mean, some of
And
it
that's
comes
what I
in
figured, maybe it just
quarterly,
catches
you know, it all depends on when the treasurer's office processes the revenue coming in.
Right.
So we could receive
She probably wouldn't
the
do that.
income for July and not post it until August. So you're never going to see true July revenue. This is just basically a basis so you can see how we're performing month to month.
Right, so when you come up with the budget numbers, you just average it out and for the month. I mean, when you're budgeting, you just kind of have an idea what the annual is gonna be, and you
Yes.
just put that amount in each, and, you know,
Yes.
you divide it by 12.
Yeah, this budget is for the year.
Okay,
The budget column is the annual budget.
right,
So when we budget, we look at all of the revenue sources, what we receive throughout the year. And that's how we create the annual budget.
You
So
don't
if we
split
know
that.
we get 12 months of, you know, certain revenue, then we budget accordingly. So it's based on the history and what we know we're going to receive. Like, for example, if we know we're getting a grant, we know we're going to get X amount of dollars over the next 6 months, then we'll budget for that grant because we know we're going to get it. But
right.
it doesn't mean it's.
But you might not get it within that month that
Right.
it's budgeted for. I mean, a lot of
Right.
times it's
But
catching
you
up.
don't break that down by month. So
No.
if Jeff knows he's gonna get X dollars in winter months price and not summer months, you don't budget it monthly.
We don't
looks
budget
like
monthly. This is an
Yeah.
annual budget.
Annual.
No, I know it's annual, but you don't have any monthly
No.
performance to budget that we could look at.
No, we do not have a
I
monthly.
think Sneha can clarify that.
I can clarify a little bit. Over the past, when we had AS400 system, AS400 did not have a budget divided by month with line item. So they always in practice of getting total. So if any account has a revenue account, then it's a total for the revenue. When we went GP wants data inputted by month, which we were asking for. So what they're doing is, they were dividing Great Plains, so they're dividing total revenue by 12. So still not a right projection.
Right.
We need to get into, which I talked to Mayor regarding that there was goal to get into monthly reporting. What is your actual revenue by month? Budgeted accordingly, and if it goes to that slot, will give you better cash flow. That's what I think you're looking for, right?
Right.
Oh,
Yeah,
provided that the
absolutely.
revenue is posted in that month. I mean, there's still, exactly, you have to have the revenue posted in the right period to
And that's-
reflect that.
Correct, and that's what we get to, right?
Mhm,
To money collected today need to be posted
Exactly.
next day.
Well,
It would
When
still be a
we
better
get to-
indication of looking at it monthly than
Right.
annually.
Mhm.
Well, a quick point here. You know, when we look at this, we're looking at all these numbers and we're looking at everything. And basically, you can't absorb it all. You can't. How are we doing? Are we within budget? Are we under budget? Where are we at? We're 6 months into the year.
Yeah.
Are we just totally screwed?
No,
Or
I
are we
actually.
doing all right? Because you look at this and you go, oh, well, we got 3% here,
It don't look
2%
all
here.
right, yeah.
And we do this in my head, and, you know what I'm saying, is there, as you guys are doing this every day, should that be on this report? You know, we're within line, this is where, you know, how do we determine that out of this?
Sue and I, we look at the accounts on a regular basis, and we are falling in line with our budget, and it's something that we need to do more often, but, we're going through audit right now, so that's why the budget amendment coming to you isn't happening until the end of December, because it's been very hectic in our office. However, we do look at these accounts on a regular basis to make sure that the departments are falling in line, because they can't, like the fire department, they can't submit a purchase order if they don't have any money in their account. So sometimes you have to move money around interdepartment, or sometimes there are expenses that are emergency items that have to be paid for, but there's no money in that budget. So we are constantly looking at these things, we are reviewing it, and, basically that's what this percent column on these reports tell us. They kind of tell us how the departments are doing. There are things that there are entries that are sometimes posted to the wrong place. We are constantly evaluating these accounts and posting things where they belong and making sure that the departments are in line. So that's what the Budget and Finance Office does for you.
When I was here in the building and grounds, Bob Mack would bring the budget over, put it on the board, say, this is what we got. He made us own it. Okay, we have this amount of money, this amount we can't have because they're doing other stuff with it. But this is what we have left. What do you guys think? What's the best use of this money? What do we need to do the most? Besides that money, we're taking this out because we got to pay you guys. So he made us own it, and I think that's a good thing, and I think more employees need to know where we're at. You know, even if it's, you know, it can't be too much, but it's got to be just enough to say, hey, listen, guys, you know, or girls, or whatever.
One of the difficulties in the transition in terms of the calendar where you guys come into office
Right.
is you haven't sat through an actual budget yet. And so understanding the budget and the layout is challenging because you're just looking at summaries and you're getting a pile of documents saying, you know, these are the budget performance reports and, you know, we want you to receive and file them. When you actually sit through a budget and because you're challenged with that same thing, I mean, we lay the budget out, but ultimately it's council that approves it. So, you know, we kind of put it on you and say, own it, you know, and then once you approve it, then it's put back on us and we have to own it. So,
Right.
you know, but you go through every line item and you go through detail by detail, and it's a month process or a couple week process, whatever it ends up being, depending on the needs of you know, we sat through budgets, timeframes that, you know, we'd spend 6 weeks before we would ever approve it, and we've sat through other ones that were two days and they were done.
I guess my point is just to maybe let the employees own it a little bit more, you know, get them more involved. Maybe you might see something different. They never were. I mean, I think we did very well in our department when we had that, you know.
Yeah.
I think after Thursday night too, we'll all have a better understanding.
Well, Thursday night, I think there's some confusion